As I outlined in the news piece earlier on today regarding the awesome-looking TWR Supercat, this is an equally unexpected bit of news. In fact, you could say even more so, because I love Le Mans. I love prototype racing, I love the World Endurance Championship kind of stuff, particularly from back in the GT1 and Group C kind of eras, but certainly in modern times, it's been amazing to see all of these brands who used to be in, or at least appeared here and there in the history of Le Mans, kind of popping back up again, like Peugeot, like Lamborghini, like Cadillac. And now we have a new player on the scene, because if you'd have asked, 20 years ago, do you think you'll see a Hyundai Le Mans prototype? Well, of course not. That wouldn't have even been on the cards. But now, through Genesis, who of course are essentially like the Lexus is to Toyota, Genesis is to Hyundai kind of vibe, they are going prototype racing. They have plans for the WEC, of course, the World Endurance Championship, and IMSA as well. In particular, they're aiming for WEC in 2026 and IMSA in 2027, but to prepare for those, they're also fielding LMP2 for the 2025 Le Mans series, this freshly showcased and stunning looking machine, which I love the design of personally, is called the GMR 001. I'm actually quite a big fan of the naming convention here though, because GMR is actually Genesis Magma Racing. And of course, for those who play Gran Turismo, not too long ago we spoke about the Genesis Vision GT, which itself has a lot of magma imagery, even the colour it's finished in. And we also have news of them being supported in this endeavour by Oreca, of course another legendary name in the world of prototype racing in particular, and they've announced two of their team drivers, and I'll probably butcher these pronunciations, but an André Lotterer and Louis Derani. Now obviously in terms of stuff like engine spec, power levels, crazy aero, wacky design choices, we don't see quite as much of that now, which is one of the reasons why I'm not quite as much of a fan as I was in the Group C and GT1 kind of eras, because you'd see more crazy stuff with insane qualifying horsepower and wacky variations in aero, and sometimes you'll see that in the modern era with like the diesel domination of the 2000s, the crazy front-wheel drive approach of Nissan, and more often than not these ideas don't necessarily work out too well. I love it because it's just something different, whereas now that's more of just a Garage 56 kind of thing. Of course, racing, especially under hypercar regulations, one of the main things there is bringing the pricing down on a lot of these cars as well, so much more of like an even keel across the board. And again, if you see something that is tried differently, like the Peugeot 9X8, it didn't do quite as well, at least with that rear wing reconfiguration. So there is still some, but not quite as much wackiness as they used to be. All things being said though, I love seeing this car in there, and not only is it a fantastic looking car, but given the effort that they're putting in, I'm pretty keen to see how it does as well on the track. And in particular, seeing how they do in the LMP2 field during 2025 before moving full bore into 2026 and 2027 with WEC and IMSA respectively. Ultimately, regardless of how it goes, it's awesome to see Genesis joining in as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, will this be a vehicle that you're cheering for, or are you already a fan of some of the other teams on the grid? Let me know down below. Of course, check out the earlier video for the Supercat, a very, very cool car as well in its own right. And of course, I'll see you with more news in future. But for now, thanks for watching.